The story opens in Harlem, 1989. John Shaft is arguing with his girlfriend Maya in the middle of the street, which honestly sounds about right for a man like this. Shaft doesn't do quiet conversations, he does declarations. But before the argument can go anywhere, a group of armed criminals rolls up on them. Now, most people in this situation would panic, hide, maybe cry a little. Shaft spots them, steps in front of Maya, and handles every single one of them before the situation can even fully develop. Cool, calm, like he was swatting flies. But when he checks one of the bodies, he finds something interesting. Drugs. And not just any drugs, product connected to one of Harlem's most dangerous drug lords, a man named Piero Carrera, known on the streets as Gordito. Shaft tucks that information away. But here's the detail that changes everything about this night. When Shaft goes back to the car, he realizes their baby son was sitting in the back seat the entire time. Little John Shaft Jr., completely unharmed but wide-eyed. And in that moment, Maya makes a decision. The life John Shaft lives is too dangerous for a family, for a child. She loves him, but she has to take their son and go. Shaft doesn't fight it. And just like that, the most dangerous man in Harlem watches his family walk away. Fast forward 25 years. JJ, John Shaft Jr., is now a grown man, MIT graduate, cybersecurity expert, works for the FBI. And he is absolutely nothing like his father. Where Shaft Sr. walks into a room and the temperature drops, JJ walks into a room and asks if anyone needs water. He is thoughtful, measured. The kind of man who probably has a skincare routine and a meditation app on his phone. His two closest friends are Sasha, a sharp and grounded woman who has known him forever, and Kareem, a former Marine who has been fighting his own battles since coming home from war. Kareem recently found something that seemed to be helping him, a veteran support program called Brothers Watching Brothers. He was getting better, finding his footing again, which is why the phone call that comes next hits so much harder. Kareem is dead, found outside the building of a known drug dealer. The official report says overdose, but JJ knows Kareem. He knows what he was working toward, and something about this does not sit right at all. So JJ does what any reasonable, level-headed FBI-trained professional would do. He goes looking for answers, and immediately gets knocked unconscious by a drug dealer's bodyguard. He wakes up in the hospital with Sasha standing over him looking equal parts concerned and completely unsurprised. JJ stares at the ceiling for a long moment, and then he makes a call he has been avoiding his entire adult life. He goes to find his father. Now, John Shaft Sr. Let us take a moment here because this man deserves a proper introduction. Samuel L. Jackson walks into this movie the same way Shaft walks into every room, like he already owns it and he is just waiting for everyone else to catch up. He is older now, but not softer, not even slightly. He still dresses like a legend, still talks like every sentence is the final word on the subject, and still has absolutely zero patience for anything or anyone he considers soft. Which means his son is about to test every nerve in his body. When JJ shows up to his father's office for the first time, the tension in that room is thick enough to cut. Two strangers who share a bloodline, one who left, one who was left, neither of them sure what to say first. But JJ swallows his feelings because Kareem deserves better than unresolved daddy issues right now and tells his father he needs his help. Shaft looks at his son, at the bruise on his face, at the button-up shirt and the careful posture, and something behind his eyes shifts just slightly. He says, "Fine." And just like that, the most unlikely father-son investigation in the history of Harlem is officially open for business. Their first stop is the drug dealer who had Kareem's name connected to his building, a man named Manny Orozco. Now, JJ's plan was to go in, ask a few questions, and maybe appeal to the man's better nature. Shaft's plan is considerably more direct. He walks into that building, takes down Manny's entire crew, and shoots each one of them in the leg, not to kill them, just to make the point. And when Manny himself tries to run into the street, Shaft casually causes a truck to cut him off, and then breaks his hand while asking very politely for information. JJ watches all of this from nearby with the expression of a man questioning every decision that led him to this moment. Manny gives up the name Brothers Watching Brothers, the same program Kareem was part of. They head to the rehab center where the program is based and meet 3 of Kareem's fellow veterans, Cuddy, Williams, and a man named Dominguez who can barely hold eye contact when Kareem's name comes up. Shaft notices, files it away, says nothing. On the drive back, Shaft and JJ go at each other. Shaft thinks JJ is too soft for this world. JJ thinks his father is a reckless walking liability who solves everything with his fists and a bad attitude. They're both partially right, and neither of them is willing to admit it. That evening, in what can only be described as a parenting decision of questionable quality, Shaft takes JJ to a nightclub to loosen him up. He introduces him to some of his associates, gets him several drinks he did not ask for, and then watches with visible amusement as his very inebriated son gets into a fight with a stranger. Here's the thing, though. JJ knows capoeira, and in what is genuinely one of the most unexpectedly impressive moments of the night, he wins the fight. The crowd goes wild. He looks cool for exactly 12 seconds, and then he throws up on 2 women. Shaft takes him home like a father carrying a toddler from a birthday party, puts him to bed, and for just a moment, standing in the doorway looking at his sleeping son, there is something human behind those sharp eyes. The next morning, a hungover JJ and his father and Sasha head to the Rashad Azam Mosque where Kareem had apparently become a regular attendee after joining the Veterans Program. They want to speak to Anam, a woman Kareem was close to, but her father, Farik, the imam of the mosque, throws all 3 of them out immediately. So JJ does what he does best. He goes home and starts digging through financial records. And he finds something strange. $500,000 moving through a recently opened supermarket into a mosque account. He brings this to his supervisor at the FBI, who promptly puts him on administrative leave for meddling. JJ stares at the suspension notice in his hand, and then goes right back to investigating. He and Shaft head to the supermarket and meet Benny, the woman who greets JJ's questions with a punch to the face, and Shaft's gun with slightly more cooperation. She claims she is simply supporting the mosque, but when Shaft looks at surveillance photos, he recognizes Benny standing alongside Gordito, the same drug lord from 1989, the same name connected to the drugs found on that body the night Shaft's family fell apart. Suddenly, this case is not just about Kareem anymore. That night, Shaft goes to a restaurant where Maya is on a date with another man, because of course he does. He sits at their table uninvited, talks to the date like they're old friends, and before Maya can fully process the audacity of this man, gunmen walk into the restaurant and fire. At the exact same time, across town, JJ and Sasha are at dinner together, and gunmen walk into their restaurant too. Someone just tried to take out every Shaft in the city in one coordinated night. They did not succeed. JJ pulls a phone off one of the dead gunmen and traces the order back to Benny. She was the one who called the hit. Things start moving fast now. The FBI raids the mosque and arrests Farik, immediately drawing public criticism that the Bureau launched an Islamophobic investigation. The whole case starts falling apart publicly. Vietti fires JJ completely this time. And then, JJ overhears something he was not supposed to hear. His father talking to his informant, Freddie. The conversation sounds like Shaft referring to JJ as dead weight, a nuisance he plans to ditch the moment the case is done. JJ walks away from his father without a word, and Shaft, for the first time in this story, is forced to sit with what he has actually cost his son by being absent for 25 years. He goes to Maya to apologize. It's a genuine, rare moment of vulnerability from a man who doesn't do vulnerable. And then he completely ruins it by asking for sex immediately afterwards. Maya closes the door in his face. Honestly, fair. Meanwhile, JJ and Sasha go back to the Brothers Watching Brothers Center to investigate Dominguez, and what JJ records on his phone inside that building changes everything. Cuddy, the veteran, the man who seemed like a grieving friend at Kareem's funeral, is heard on recording talking openly about his connection to Gordito's operation and about Kareem. Kareem had figured out what was happening. He was going to blow the whistle, so Cuddy had him killed. And then, while JJ is still processing the weight of that reality, Cuddy looks up and sees him. JJ and Sasha run. They don't make it far enough. Cuddy and Williams grab Sasha and take her hostage. Shaft arrives at the scene to find his son standing there alone, and the argument that follows is the most honest conversation they have had. Shaft tells JJ he never wanted to leave, that Gordito's attempt on their lives back in 1989 made it impossible to keep his family close at the same time, that his absence was never indifference, it was fear. JJ listens, and then they go get Sasha back. But first, they need one more Shaft.
They drive to the home of John Shaft Sr., the original, walking into the story like a living legend because that is exactly what he is. He opens the door, looks at his son, then looks at JJ, and his entire face changes. He has a grandson he never knew existed. JJ has a grandfather he never knew existed. They stand there looking at each other for a long moment, and then Shaft Sr. goes to the back room and comes out with enough guns to start a small war. He is absolutely coming. 3 generations of Shaft arrive at Gordito's building. The plan is for JJ to hack the security cameras so they can move through undetected. The plan lasts approximately 45 seconds before the lack of Wi-Fi causes a glitch and every camera on the floor lights up with their faces. So they do it the Shaft way instead. They go through the window. What follows is one of the most chaotic, entertaining, multi-generational beatdowns in recent memory. Gordito's henchmen fall one by one. Williams goes down into chaos, and JJ, the man who showed up to this investigation with a laptop and good intentions, finds himself in a hand-to-hand fight with Cuddy, the man who killed his best friend. Cuddy gets the upper hand and raises his gun. JJ drives a shard of glass into his leg, grabs the gun, and shoots him. Cuddy drops. JJ stands there breathing hard, looking at his hands, understanding for the first time in his life exactly what his father's world actually feels like from the inside. But Gordito is still standing, and he has Sasha, JJ, and both Shafts at gunpoint. He looks at Shaft and tells him that JJ was the real target all along, that going after his son was always the plan to make Shaft pay for interfering in his operation all those years ago. Shaft Sr. sees the gun swing toward JJ, and John Shaft jumps in front of his son to take the shot. Shaft Sr. throws a knife across the room, and then Shaft empties his gun into Gordito, sending him through the window. 3 generations, 1 move, done. Shaft wakes up in hospital. Maya is there, JJ is there, Shaft Sr. is there. And for the first time in 25 years, this broken, scattered, stubbornly proud family is in the same room at the same time. Maya looks at Shaft, and for everything he put her through, for every year he was absent, for every mistake and every moment of recklessness, she is a little bit softer with him today, because she watched him jump in front of a bullet for their son. JJ finally walks over to Sasha and kisses her. His father and grandfather exchange a deep, satisfied approval. Back at the FBI, JJ walks into a standing ovation, the entire office on their feet. Vietti steps forward, ready to welcome him back with a promotion and a speech about how he always believed in him. JJ listens politely, and then tells him he is not coming back. He turns around and walks out of that building, down the front steps, where his father and grandfather are waiting on the street below, dressed like between the 3 of them, they own every block in Harlem. JJ falls into step beside them. 3 Shafts, 3 generations, walking into the street like they always belonged by his side. Which, when you think about it, they always did. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this one. Thanks for watching.